So I am taking advantage of the fact that I'm caught up on my tags to dive back into the archives and resurrect an old tag for you guys. And I've had one in mind for quite some time, which is Heather Read's very first original tag. It's called Outside the Cover Story tag. And it's quite interesting. It doesn't so much have a number of questions as it asks you to tell a story, and a story about a book, but not what's inside the book. And I thought long and hard about this, and came up with several approaches, and I didn't even know until I just clicked on this which one I sort of am deciding on. But one seems to see forcing itself forward into my mind, and I actually kind of talked about it recently. On a couple times I have talked about my mom's, I'm handicapped in these sorts of tags by the fact that I don't have, a bookshelf of my own books for various reasons. My travels and weird ideas. But yes, I've sometimes talked about my mom's bookshelves, specifically the one in her bathroom, which is her youth bookshelf from the 60s. But recently I was talking about the books, this sort of blue with green, yellow paint, beat tin, I think, chest that I had in Mali in my mud hut in Africa where I was doing Peace Corps. And the books that I had in there, notably a group of about 4 or 5, that I really lived with in a very deep way for a couple years. I think I mentioned that my Parisian friend, surprised me in the airport on the flight over. This is back, obviously, before 9/11 when people could pop in and out. And quite by random ran into him. It was really lucky that I saw him at all. And he had brought me 4 books, very sweet. I remember Omar Khayyam and I remember Khalil Gibran. But a few books that I brought myself to develop a practice with, and I did. There was a diary book, so keeping a diary with various prompts. I don't remember the title or it had just a normal title, but I can't remember the author's name. And when I look, there's tons of those books, which is great, but so I can't resurrect that one. But I did recently find the exact title. I'll put these down in the show notes for a recent. I don't know if it was a tag or another video that I did. I talked about the star book that I used. It showed the stars in very simple geometric shapes. Not like, an elaborate archer, but it would be like, a quadrilateral with a little triangle off of it or something like that. So you could really see them quite easily. And I did it sort of in reverse because I slept every night under the Saharan stars, which you cannot imagine on every horizon, stars. And so I would see the shapes, and then eventually I got to know the shapes. And then I looked in the book and it was like, the backwards question mark. Oh, that's Leo, right? So there was that book. There was a Zen Mind Beginner's Mind. I remember also had a picture of D.T. Suzuki on the back of it. And I had a meditation practice, and I also had a meditation book. And so I would meditate every day after yoga. And the other book would be the yoga book, which was this crazy guy, but the asanas were pretty easy in the beginning. At the end of the book, he's passing a cloth through his body over 3 days to cleanse the interior and crazy stuff like that. But no, I remember D.T. Suzuki's face, and I would sort of meditate, and then sometimes I would meditate on his face. So I had these sort of little group of books that I didn't so much read as I practiced them. I lived them. And so they're the only ones, you guys are always going on about covers. I'm not so much about the covers. I mean, unless it's, a great work of art reproduced on there. To me, it's mainly marketing. I care about what's inside the book. But those covers, I remember them, which I normally don't but because I lived with them so intimately. You know, I remember the colors, I remember the shapes, the size, the feel of them. And of course, they got more and more beat up as the years went on in the Sahara there, with the bugs and the heat and the sand and whatnot. But so I don't have those books with me anymore to show them to you, unfortunately. But those books were very, very precious to me, and I think that I had the best. Besides also having this wonderful community, this village, that really had my back and did not leave me alone. Um, Even if sometimes I thought I wanted to be, but they really had me in their heart, and I think I had the best mental health I've ever had. Really, so I rose with the sun, went to bed with the sun. Ate very little, exercised daily, lived with the stars and nature, and yeah. So and I had those wonderful books with me. So thank you, Heather, for the chance to talk about those. I hope I did something akin to what you had in mind when you designed this wonderful original tag, and I hope a lot of other people will do it. And I'm going to tag a dozen or so of you down below, so look out for that. If I haven't tagged you, I encourage you to do the tag nonetheless. I think people who have done old tags that I have resurrected before, like the history one, and a couple others, the pirate ship ones, have really enjoyed those. So I'm looking forward to, now that I'm caught up, getting back to. I have a little file of the old tags, some of which I wanna do with you guys. So as much as I love getting tagged with the new tags, there's a bunch of great old tags too. So there you go, Tag Tuesday. One day late, sorry. Haven't done one in a while. I was on vacation, but I'm back now. And yeah, things are in a different headspace for me with the channel and stuff. But I'll talk about that another time. Today I just really wanted to celebrate Heather Read's wonderful original tag.